Hello everyone and welcome. This is Adrian. Thank you for joining me. And today I am going to do an impressions video on Total War Warhammer. I want to tell you what I think about it, what we're going to be doing with it, and how we're going to be playing it. The footage you're seeing here is from our Empire campaign, which I was live streaming on Twitch these past 2 days, and also you'll see this campaign up on YouTube within the next few days, or actually the first episode should already be up on YouTube by the time I'm recording this. So I just want to break down Total War Warhammer and give you an honest review of what I think of it, how it works in relation to other Total War games. So let's just jump right into it. I want to talk about the good. So there's a lot of good in this game. I was thoroughly and honestly, I was impressed with this game when I played it. I was impressed with this game now. And I have a feeling that I'm going to be impressed with this game for a little while to come. I've been playing Total War games for, a few years now, probably since Shogun 2, and I've tried out the older ones, like Medieval 2, Rome Total War, but I really jumped into the game in Shogun 2, and I played all the Total Wars ever since. Shogun 2 and Empire and Napoleon also being some of my favorites. There's something about Total War Warhammer that makes it really unique, and it's quite refreshing. It's just as a game that's it's a similar formula. We've played Total War games before. You have real-time tactical battles. You have a strategic map on your campaign map, and you plan your economy, plan your armies, your heroes, plan your diplomacy, plan out how you're going to do things, where you're going to fight your battles, what terrain, how you're going to fortify your buildings, fortify your settlements. And so I would say that overall, Total War Warhammer is probably one of the best Total War games in this series. I don't want to say it's the best. I just don't think I've played enough of the game to really be able to make that statement, very definitively. I would say that it's definitely up there as far as how fresh it feels, how good it runs, and how fun it is. I would say it's one of the better Total War games that are in existence. It's fresh, it's unique, it's a good experience. I like playing it. It's very addictive. I have like work and school and other things going on, but I just find myself, being in class and I'm like, damn, you know what? I really want to be at home playing right now. So it's pretty interesting. Also, if you watch my campaign that's gonna be coming up here for the Empire, you will see in my recordings that, dude, I have a lot of fun in this game. I have a lot of fun playing this game, so it's really fun. The campaign is great. All the factions play very differently. The campaign runs well. The UI is clean and it's clear, and it tells you the information that you need to know. The game itself feels accessible. I'm not a fan of the Warhammer lore. I played Warhammer 40,000, but not really Warhammer Fantasy, so I don't know much about the lore. I don't know much about the game franchise by Games Workshop. But honestly, going into Total War, you actually feel like you really don't need to know all that much about the lore to really be able to enjoy the game. I really like the fact that it's accessible and it's a Total War game at heart. It really does feel like that. You don't need to have the lore. You don't need to have much history on it. You can jump into the game and kind of learn your way around the environment and around the world and really appreciate what goes on in this fantasy setting, kind of in a way that I guess maybe you almost couldn't do with other Total War games. Empire Total War, Napoleon Total War, those are games with large scopes, large periods of history, and political events, historical events, social economic events. And while those games were fun and accessible, if you weren't a fan of history, you really weren't going to enjoy the games as much as could be. Going from historical to fantasy is really something quite interesting. I would like to see Total War do some more franchise work with something like this. Imagine some sort of sci-fi game, or imagine a Total War Star Wars or something where you battle out on planets, except maybe even like space battles and things like that, or operate similarly to naval battles, how they did in Empire and Napoleon. In a fantasy setting, if you play your cards right, you can get to really interesting things going on. I feel like this fantasy setting set in the Warhammer universe, it works. It's accessible and it works and it's fun. It's really fun. The graphics are excellent. The graphics look amazing. all the units and the sounds and the way that, the music, even the music, everything, the way that everything synthesizes into its graphical aesthetic is mind-boggling. It's truly epic. I mean, even you can see here the user interface, the towns, the maps, the factions, even the flags are different compared to if you're a dwarven player or if you're an empire player. You really feel engulfed in this fantasy setting, and the aesthetics are just amazing. It makes you feel really good, and it makes you feel really immersed in a world that's pretty awesome to look at. Um, you know, whereas in historical Total War games, you had, I guess, user interfaces and music and sounds of historical weapons and classical music artists, and the user interfaces would be made out of leather, and all these kinds of things that try to immerse you in a historical world. Whereas here you're in a fantasy world. It's much easier to believe. It's much more interesting to be able to see orcs and trolls growling at each other, and dragons and shit like that, fighting, and you hear like these arrows, and then you got like gunpowder next to them, and you got like huge explosions, and you got like these helicopters and stuff. There's just a huge fantasy setting that's much more easily immersive and accessible to the player. With the graphics, with the sound design, with the music, it's amazing. Regarding performance, performance for me is excellent. I'm not playing on the highest settings. I play on high. There are 4 levels: low, medium, high, and then ultra. For recording and such, I prefer to play on high. I don't play on ultra. I've seen videos of players playing on ultra. I don't personally. Like I said, I play on high. I just find that playing on high graphics is better for recording, is better for streaming. I have a GTX 970. I don't have the 980. I don't have a Ti. I've got a pretty good processor, pretty good RAM. You can check my specs on YouTube. Overall, though, even for high, not even an ultra, the game looks great. The game runs great. It's really impressive. This is by far the least buggy and best looking and best performing Total War game in the past, 3-4 years. The debacle with Rome 2, everybody knows about the debacle. We do not have the same situation here. No way. No way. I will admit, the specs on this game, they're demanding. I'm not going to say that any guy with an old toaster is going to be out there able to play this game, even on low settings, even on reduced resolution. You need a beefy machine to enjoy this game. I spent a lot of money on my computer. I'm sure a lot of other Let's Players and YouTubers have. Air of Carthage, THFE Productions. So they got some beefy shit. It's nothing to mess around with. So I do find that my game performs well. I haven't had crashes, haven't had any real FPS drops, nothing major. I've probably stayed above 50 to 60 FPS in big battles while I'm recording. I might be streaming on Twitch, I might be on the internet at the same time. I'm really not seeing a lot of performance issues that other Total War games are seeing. So I really appreciate that. So let's go into the battles. Battles are awesome. Battles are fun. Battles, they're really unique compared to other Total War games. The unit rosters are really quite varied. Every faction that's included in this game plays quite differently. Not just in unit rosters, but in magic, in the weight of their units, what types of units, even how effective those units are. No 2 infantry units are really the same. No 2 cavalry units are really the same. Not only do you get that fantasy aspect, you get units that are really quite unique. You get like Pegasus knights like flying around the place. You get like demigriff knights, hopping around the place. But it's just the tactics and the units themselves play out quite differently. So I like that. Units have a lot of weight to them now. It just feels like formations are more dense and solid. Just the way that units fight things out, especially legendary lords when they're in battles with common soldiers, it looks amazing. It is incredible. It's incredible. I can't even really describe it. It's just so cool to watch. It's so cool. And in a way that other Total War games were not able to present. You had like generals on horses charging in previous Total War games, but here you've got, like big orc bosses and, Karl Franz, the Emperor, and his, armor and his huge ass hammer and sword, and he'll just like fly at like a group of people, and you'll see people scatter all over the place and dust, and gore is all kicked up, and you're like, dude, that was epic right there, what I just saw. And it's really cool to see those things play out. It's something that other Total War games did not have. They they didn't. You know, that's not something you have in a historical setting. Um, let's see here. Technology is pretty cool. There's a lot of tech per faction. Not only do the factions research technology differently, but it's pretty diverse. So I like that. There's a lot of incentive for you to have a long, drawn out, planned out campaign. Um, Especially here, like in this Empire campaign, I'm probably like, what, 30, 40 turns in, and really I can see there's a lot of technology I got to go through. You know, we got 200, 300, maybe 400 turns that we have to get through before we researched just about everything in the game. So it takes time. It takes time to build things up and to research things. Let's see, anything else? That's basically all I have to say about the good. Let's see, what's mediocre about the game? The game's not perfect. The game is not perfect. Battles are a bit quick. I like that units have weight and they feel heavier. You know, their formations hold better together. They feel like they work cohesively in a way that other Total War games kind of muddled with. You know, the AI never really got it right. Units never really acted perfectly. Maybe besides like Shogun 2. Shogun 2 did that pretty good. But here the battles are a bit quick. I feel like morale and health points and such, you know, they go down a little fast. You might hope that battles last a bit longer. Um, and as far as economic depth goes, this is kind of weird to say as far as a Warhammer game. You know, Warhammer and economics not exactly supposed to be tied together, but the game presents itself as a Total War game. So at the base, you're supposed to have diplomacy. You're supposed to have, you know, economics and buildings and such, building tall, building wide. There is limited depth to diplomacy, to trade, to economics, and to building. So if you're coming here for, you know, if you're a Total War veteran like me, I guess, and you're expecting that, you know, buildings, infrastructure, trade, diplomacy, it's a little on the light side. So that's mediocre. That's a mediocre thing about the game. I would be very impressed if, say, this game had the diplomacy and trade and economics of, like, you know, Europa Universalis 4 or something, or like Civilization 5 or along those lines. That would be impressive. That would make this game a lot different. But at the end of the day, it's a Warhammer game. It's more focused on tactical battles. It's more focused on, you know, those battles between units and such. Not so much about the diplomacy. From what you're seeing here on my screen, diplomatic options are limited, you know, and I guess that's okay. It works. You know, I might want more for my buck, but it works. That might be more than I can say for even some other Total War games. Now, let's go into the bad, because I do feel that there are some legitimate problems with the game. One of them is that I fear that people who are new to Warhammer, or people who are new to Total War, may doubt its price tag. They might doubt the amount of content that you get for how much you've paid. So I got this, I actually got this on a CD key website for $45. I bought a CD key. I did not buy it off of Steam. I did not buy it from Creative Assembly. I got a discount. I saved about $15. So for me, for a $45 game, hell, I'm enjoying it. You know, I enjoy the game. Some other people might not feel the same way. If they're new to Total War, they're new to Warhammer, they might feel that, hey, maybe this game is a little lackluster, or they might feel that it's awesome. It's just my concern is that somebody who's not engulfed in the lore and / or somebody who hasn't played Total War before might be a bit disappointed at the game. You know, I've heard multiplayer is kind of a problem. There's only like 5 factions. You know, are there more to come? Custom battles and such are fun. The unit rosters are pretty large, but I have a concern that newer players, people who haven't gotten into Total War yet, might be a bit disappointed. They might feel like the game is not worth its price tag. I would say for $40 to $45, this is a good game. For $59.99, some people might be disappointed. They might throw up a red flag. I don't know. It's hard to say. I didn't buy it for $60. You know, I was gonna buy the game either way. I'm lucky I got a discount. One of the bad things about the game that I've considered is the fact that there are only 5 playable races at the moment. Like I said, each faction plays quite differently, but the fact that there are only 5 races, only 5 in the campaign. I believe it's Greenskins, Orcs, or Greenskins, Vampire Counts, Chaos. Let's see here, Empire, and then Dwarves. People have suggested that Bretonnia is going to be in there, so that'll be up to 6. But that's it. that's all you get for this game so far. I know that, people have discussed that more content will be coming. There are sequels, there are expansions and such, but for now, 5 playable races, maybe a 6th coming along. Bretonia, technically, you can play in the custom games and multiplayer and such. Some people might be turned off by that. Some people might see it as a genuine design flaw. I would say it's a problem. For me, it would be cool if we had 5 factions, but you could play as different, I guess, countries, I guess you would say. When you're in the campaign map and you pick Greenskins, there's no variety. You play as literally a country called Greenskins on the campaign map, same start. There's nothing different. Whereas there's tons of greenskin tribes on the map, and you can't pick and choose. I feel like that might be a problem. To some people. It might be a problem. But other than that, the game is fun. It's worth the money for me. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed playing it. I had a good time. I have a good time, and honestly, I'm going to be playing this game a lot in the future. I was playing Stellaris, I was playing, Europa Universalis 4, and then this game came along, and, I really have little desire to play those other games. I really want to be playing this game for a little while. Total War Warhammer, for sure. The battles, the campaign, it's just so much fun. It's so much fun. So those are my impressions about it. If you like this video, please press the like button. If you dislike this video, please press the dislike button. Subscribe, leave a comment if you agree with me, or comment if you don't. If you see this review as maybe wrong or bad, go ahead and leave a comment. Talk to me about it. I'd love to hear you. I'd love to hear you talk. I appreciate you guys for watching, and I've been Adrian, you've been you, and I will see you guys around in some future videos. Thank you.